Hi, welcome to Bruce Crutham here at Classic Benz. I promised a couple of more videos in relation to pagodas, and I thought this was a great feature to show everybody and be part of today. So I'm very, very privileged to be part of helping find a new home for this 280 SL Pagoda here. It belonged to a very well-known guy in the Mercedes-Benz Club called Nick Kish. He's very well known for his pedantic way of mechanical, everything to be perfect. I was called by the Mercedes-Benz Club to go down and do a valuation and then do an assessment on this car at Nick's house. Sadly, you know, he was an absolute true gentleman in the Mercedes-Benz Club, and those who knew him would vouch for his sort of unique way of living his life in a very simple way in the 1970s. And I think this car was a testament really to him and why he owned it. But I wanted to just put a little story behind it as I've been given the car here to help find a new home. Not only is the condition original in the car that it is, but the history file and the documentation with this is typical Nick. Kosh was his name, a nickname to his friends and people who were close by him. I had the privilege of meeting Nick a couple of three times, sometimes on the early days of the Techno Classica Essen trip. And those who know from the Mercedes-Benz Club, Nick was part of that on the coach. So what do we have here? It can't be no more genuine really than this from a Pagoda point of view. It's a 1968 car. You can see by the registration number VLO 41G was a well-known car in the Mercedes Club. But the key thing, which was very typical of Nick, from the little time that I owned him, all this rust that you can see here on these wings along here and all on the wheel arches around here. Nick was the sort of person who did not want to paint this car, and I repeat, never wanted to repaint, never wanted to have this car fixed. He was a stickman for having the car to be original. And I think from what I can vouch in the car and the history that I have and the evidence of it all, I don't think this car's had any paint for a number of years. It may well in a few areas, but from what I can see, this car's never been painted. It's in grey, blue, metallic, code 906 to those who know. But this is as honest as a Pagoda you could probably find. And it's not something that I could live with or I could drive around in, but that was typical of Nick. He even had paint mixed up to touch in these rust bubbles because he didn't want the actual rusty bits actually showing. But a couple of points I'm going to show on the car when it shows its originality. If you look down inside this here, you can see the little cutaways on the wings on both sides, and you can see they're only about 25-30 mil in length, and that's how really they were when they were factory. Some people put them up here, some people make them thicker, but in my eyes, in my experience, that is how they should be. When you look along the grille, and you see this grille, how it comes and it fits all along here. If you look on the driver's side here on this grille, and these are little key areas on here, you see this little line that you see here where it comes around here, and this grille fits in this angle here. This has never been off the car. All the fitment of this fits perfect. You know, the little collets of the chrome and the fitment of this, it's never been off the car. So this is quite a rare find to see this. When these get re-chromed during the process of heating and warming and cold, and they put the copper into them, they always stick out a little bit on the edges, but this sits beautiful and it fits within that line right. The glass fits lovely all around here. And I can see that this car really doesn't really want new wings fitted to it. You know, you're going to cut the wings here, you're going to lose the gap here, and the fitment of wings these days aren't going to be the same. But let's just talk about the rest of the car. Nick's owned this car since 1995. And this is the bit that's interesting. He's owned it since May of 1995. And in that time, he's kept it like this. He's mechanically got it perfect. He's worked with a dear friend in the Mercedes-Benz Club from the technical directors who have helped him, you know, keep some of the parts moving originally on the car. But this hardtop's been hanging in his garage for 38 years, whatever it may well be, that he's owned this roof hanging in his garage. And I was the person who wanged it off the winch and placed it onto the hardtop for the first time and drove it away with the hardtop fitted. But when you go around, he had the bunt style alloy wheels. As you can see, he's had the bunt style Mexican hat wheels, as you want to call it. It was an option on Pagodas of that time. Nick preferred these wheels. And just moving around the rest of the car, look at the panel gaps on the boot and the way it all is. Typical Nick, nothing's changed. You can see when you look in the boot, that the original matte. Everything was in the dull grey finished paint. He's got his little extras in there. I've still kept them in there. I sort of feel that I don't want to move anything, but these are Nick's little get you out of jail extras that he had: spare plugs, spare oil filter, first aid kit, Red X. These are all the things that Nick thought, this car's going to get me home even if I do break down. So just walk around. If you follow me around onto this side, some Pagodas had the error on the boot. Who knows if it's right or wrong, but people sure I'm going to correct me if I'm not. But some people put them on the boot, some people put them on the bonnet here. So in my eyes, this is a perfect car for somebody who could, I've just taken the car as it is, not cleaned it, I've not over cleaned it, I've done nothing with it. It starts on the button, it drives, it changes gear lovely, it does all what you want for a 280 SL Pagoda. But this is the bit that really excites me. And I'm not a big stickler for history. I like history, but I don't lean on it as a purchase for me. But this is something I must show everybody that's here. This book that Nick did, you can see here that Nick bought this car in 6th of May 1995. He actually viewed the car in March, so he actually had to make a documentation with this. Every time he drove this car, and what he did, he documented the mileage, how much petrol he put in cost, and the date that it went in. This was every time and every mile he drove this car, all the way through where he went in it, the use, the litres, the dates. This book is over 35 years of history, of documented himself. You don't make these things up. This is totally Nick all over. But look at this, all the way through, right the way through until July of this year. Sadly, Nick passed away shortly after that time, but that was his last journey that he did in this car. Amazing history. So, it's a matching number car. It's the correct engine. It's the correct gearbox. It's always been this colour combination. All the serial numbers match. The production numbers match. It's always had a blue MB text interior. The carpets are still original from when they were new. So I've been really privileged to be able, one, to be able to take the car in, two, to be able to stand here and talk on behalf of the Mercedes-Benz Club, the history of this unique 280 SL Pagoda. So the car is going to be listed for sale with me at £95,000, and I'd like to work with a private individual, not for financial gain, but to bring this car back to the next person who would, custodian, who would take this car on with my help and my expertise to dress and deal with this corrosion. I think the reason why this has never been addressed, because you can't just deal with this repair. To take this car on now, to be able to make this look correct, it's probably going to need a full repaint. And that involves taking out the windscreen, replacing the windscreen because it's delaminated, some of the chrome work needs to be done, and this is where you're going to need a little bit of help from me to be able to steer the ship or car in the direction of that they want from an ownership point of view. Because you can get easily carried away here, and I think it's going to be sad if we remove the uniqueness and Nick's DNA in this car. So if you're interested and you want to know more information about this, I have a thick file of history, documentation of this car through the 30 odd years that Nick's owned this car, and I'd love to work with somebody who appreciates Nick's time that he spent with it and bring the car to whatever level they want. If you're happy to drive around and leave this the way that it is, that's down to the individual how they want to do that. So if you're interested and you want to work with me on this particular project, please get in touch. I'd be delighted to bring people down on an appointment only. The car's drivable. It can be used at any one time. Come and speak to me, Bruce Greetham, Classic Benz, 07359 660 954. Really looking forward to come to see you. Many thanks.